Hi, everybody. Haven't seen you guys in such a long time. How nice it is to see friendly squares. They're getting to be looking more like squares than rectangles for some reason, but good to see everybody. We have an agenda with just a very few items on it. If there are other things that come up as we have a conversation, then I'm happy to discuss. Thank you, Jamie, for putting the agenda in the chat. Congratulations. I see Sheldon is in my top right corner, the new chair of CAAC. Anything you want to share about what's on the horizon for CAAC in 2022-23?
We're going to try to address that counseling charter that went out a few years ago. I think there's still some residual feelings about that. So that's going to probably be top priority in just navigating through post-pandemic stuff, or even I think we're still in it. So just kind of navigating through that. Yeah, I know.
Okay, but we'll still have the after effects. If we're really out of it, we'll have after effects. If we're not out of it, we'll be doing continuing effects. Whatever it is, it'll be among us.
Okay. But I do have to go to, I have to go to a FY advising meeting. So if I could address the returning adults question that was at the very bottom, because I have to leave and go to FYE. But so all the new returning adults that have inquiries are being directed to either Carrie through the Pahihi email address or to myself and Alfie. And so just kind of find peace in that returning adults are being taken care of.
Okay, so, I think Noel might have something else to say about that.
Yeah.
Did he make it? We just finished our own meeting. So is he back? Noel.
But yeah, I mean, if anyone has questions, they can always email me and we'll gladly help whoever.
Okay. Well, as soon as Noel makes it to this meeting, I will make sure to allow him some time because I think he might have things to add about some specifics that he's talking about. But thank you for Kuile taking on the stuff when Shannon is out.
Yep, happy to do it.
Oh, there he is. Go, Noel. Anything you want to add about Pahihi?
Yeah, so the other thing, in addition to Sheldon guys helping out, we're all looking at another plan to possibly get overload for somebody to help out, but especially the advising part in the summer. So stay tuned for that. We just got to work on some of the budgets and the paperwork. I think I jumped into the right topic. Sorry, I was with it.
Yep. No, I was waiting for you to get back, but thank you. That's exactly right. Any questions about Pahihi and returning adults? Okay, Guy Kellogg, I'm looking at you and the lights on the ceiling make you look like you're in this like holy picture that I used to get in elementary school when the angels with the it was sort of coming the other way from God down, but this, oh, thank you. No, it's great the other way. I think it looks fabulous. You look like a holy picture. I was always so thrilled to get, did you guys have those too? In Catholic school, you would get holy pictures when you did good. Yeah, Maria. Yeah, I never could understand the angels that had just heads and little wings. That I could never figure out physiologically, how does that happen? And nobody was creeped out by it. I don't understand. Okay, thank you. And I digress multiple times. Going through the agenda, I have just one thing to update everybody on. The telework policy, the official University of Hawaii telework policy, which was took effect March the 1st. Many people put together work plans, got their request forms done, and thank you for that. It took a while for them to get officially approved by Erica, but we all proceeded as if on March 1st, we got all of that taken care of. By the policy, we need to evaluate every 3 months. So those of you who are on this call who were approved by your supervisor, your work plan was approved, and your request was approved by me and ultimately by Erica. We will be asking for the supervisors to do an evaluation of how things worked out. I'll be sending a memo out by the end of the day today to the supervisors. So if you could take a look at the memo, it's going to give you a link to the policy and a link to the evaluation form that supervisors will need to go over with their employee who is teleworking. So what questions does anybody have right now about that? The memo will say, if everything is okay, check the request dates to see. Some people just did it for 3 months. Some people did it for the whole year. If everything is okay, then you can just continue, but keep your evaluation forms. If there needs to be adjustments to the work plans, things need to be done differently based on your evaluation, then everything will need to be updated. The work plan will need to be updated and approved and sent forward for another cycle of approvals. Thank you, Darsh. You're getting the heads up from Darsh already. Darsh, you want to add anything?
No, that sounds about right. I just put the link in the chat if people want to take a look at the form. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. There was nothing else in the Chancellor's update, but there's also a question in the agenda about classes and how and when will classes be canceled. There was also a question about how are things looking for the fall. Well, the things are not looking great for the fall. We're down a little bit less than 5%. I checked this morning. Everybody is down. Some people down a lot more than us. So it's again nationally the same picture. Manoa, their enrollments are up. And we all know that our students are going to Manoa. We know that they have changed their admissions. We know that they no longer require SATs. So it's easier for our students to get there. So that's what we know is happening. But we also know that high school kids are not going to college in droves as they once did. So we're being impacted by multiple forces. And so it's showing up in our numbers. I know that Noyao and his crew are going to be taking special efforts. You want to talk a little bit about that, Noyao, too, before we talk about canceling classes?
Yeah, let me try and pull up the screens. Sorry, my screens changed. Okay, let me see. All right. Okay, real quick, I will put this in the chat, but if you guys want to, you can always look this up online. Sorry, no. Be sure also to log in with your UH usernames because there's some data that you cannot access. It's not public data. So right now, what you're looking at of the screen is basically the number of applications that is going towards the school. So there is a system application, and basically you choose the college you want to go to. All right, so currently, if you're looking at it here in this list, our campus, over 3,000 applications, right? The other one is, if you notice here, that number is really closely mirroring last fall, right? In terms of the number of students that is applying here, right? So in terms of, I guess, a steady flow of applications, doing a pretty good job. Obviously, we're still coming off of COVID. We don't know if there's going to be a big boost yet in enrollment, but in terms of our efforts and getting the word out, dealing with the resources we have, pretty good. All right, if you look down here, acceptance rates, 93.8%. So those are students who already got accepted. I think the team down there doing a tremendous job, probably less than 100 apps to work on right now, right? To understand their workload, sometimes this number hovers in the past from like 200 to 300 applications. So to always be either 50 to 100 is kind of normal, and really have a quick turnaround time in less than a week. The problem here is you guys see here 22.9%, which is the yield rate. So how to read this is a student who was accepted into the college and they enrolled in the fall semester. A variety of reasons of why this number is low. Obviously for the CCs, anybody can apply to the CC for free. There is no big commitment like applying to the four-year university where there's some kind of fee. So a lot of students, they probably applied in high school as a plan B. The other one is our incoming students, whether they be freshmen, still need to do their new student orientation. The other part is they're really not sure as to which college they want to go to. All right, so this is just some numbers playing on in the background in terms of new students that would possibly be here. The other new campaign that we're going to be possibly working on in the near future is basically we're looking at some data, which I believe the number is a little bit above 2,000, right? What the data is students that was enrolled in the spring semester, right? Let's say 2,000, because I don't know the real number right now. You take out the students who did not graduate, okay? And you take out the students who are special populations, so running start, early college, etc. Currently, there's approximately 2,000 students who was with us in the spring, but did not register in the fall semester, right? Within that is students who are on probation and suspension. I'd say give or take 100. So what the college is going to do is do a campaign to these 2,000 students to hopefully get them to re-enroll in the near future so that we can start to look at what is our true enrollment for the fall. And then the academic side could start to make more informed decisions in terms of, I guess, trying to add more sections, dropping sections, whatnot, because that would account for the returning student population, who is really the population that we really want to focus on, because those are the students who is already at our college. They kind of know what to expect. They know what we offer. So trying to get them back here is probably looking at one of our better retention efforts. Questions about that or the applications or the data? I will add one more thing that Louise was saying about the high schools. If you go back into this report, you can actually go back and choose, if you want to look at certain high schools, where are they going, right? So for example, we can look at the Great Red Raiders of Kauai High School over here.
Sorry.
And then pull in the numbers. Look at that. Behind Kauai CC, we are the number 2 school in attracting a population from over there. Right. So obviously, if you want to go ahead and drill down to certain high schools, you can kind of do all of that.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Noel just said. When we looked at the data on non-home based students online, we were the second choice for every other community college. So the highest population of the students were their home campus, and we were always the second biggest population for all other 6 campuses. So we are everybody's second choice besides their home, which is nice. Guy, you have a question.
Yeah, I'll try to address Guy's question. And you know what? The better person would have been Sheldon, who just jumped off. But in short, Guy, we did have a lot of these sessions in the past, just in the Zoom format. And I think we tried to do some in the library at that time, of trying to get students to fill out the application. But if you are encountering these and you want to try and set up some times where we could kind of get more students there, let us know. And then we can kind of help that, either do a Zoom session or if you want to do the in-person one. Usually if they come in person, I haven't been to the Zoom ones, probably working with Sheldon guys, I've seen it maybe 20 minutes, maybe at most, fairly quickly, especially if it's a small population. But let us know how we can help with that, because usually we just try to offer the really open big ones to the community. But I mean, we've probably seen like less than 5 students coming in through all of that. Like you said, if it's there, let us know. And if you bring the population, we will be there to help with that.
Noelle, I have a question about that. When I first arrived, we went to high schools obviously pre-COVID, but we went in and actually had whole classrooms full of students that were assembled, and then a group of us would go in and work with the students. We were in a computer lab at the high school, and we actually stuck them through the process and did the enrollment. Will we go back to that? Do you see a time where after?
So Alfie and Sheldon still do that. Some of the in-person ones, a lot of the Zoom ones. So it is happening there. But I think, as Louise said, some of these students, I mean, the one we went to, basically, I think they're highly encouraged to apply as a plan B. But a lot of the different high schools, the students, they're just unsure as what they wanted to do. Sorry, I read a chat thing and I kind of stopped there. But in short, yes, Lisa, we are doing them. But I guess right now, the biggest thing, and maybe hopefully I'm reflecting what Sheldon would have said, is a lot of the high school students, because there is not a huge offering of in-person, or they might feel like college is doing online, the same thing their high school did, they don't really want to do that anymore. Like, I think they want some of the in-person stuff. I could be wrong, I don't know, but it's just hard to tell what this population wants. So ask me in 5 years when we have data on this. But as of right now, I don't know.
Circling back to the question on the agenda, Maria, there's always a concern about canceling classes and what are we doing and why do we do what we do. You want to update folks on the plans for fall 2022?
Okay. So for fall 2022, as much as possible, we would still want to keep our 66% fill rate for our classes, but there are some classes that are going to be difficult to get those numbers up, especially if these are your courses that are needed by the students for graduation. Then also our face-to-face classes are going to be, I think, small this time as we build the number of students coming back to campus. So these are decisions that have to be made, and we have to start looking at the classes by 2 weeks before school starts. So that would be August 8th, yeah, August 8th. And I want the department chairs to work with your deans so that you can talk about it and look at the classes that are like being considered for cancellation, and whatever classes need to be canceled should be done by August 19th, which is the Friday before school starts. As much as possible, if we could cancel classes before that so that you can give the students a chance to look for other classes that they can take, that would be perfect. But there are some cases where, like you have to consider a lot of things before you can actually make that decision. So all classes that need to be canceled should be done by the Friday before school starts. Any questions on that?
No questions. Okay, Maria, was clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Is that a holiday, Jerry? August
Friday
19th
is admissions day.
Okay, then August 18th.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right. Anything for this audience? Anybody have things to share? Things they want everybody to know about? Or questions that they have not related to anything that was already discussed?
I can share something.
Okay.
So Denise Pearson brought up a really good point today. There is a UH Foundation. It's called the Fast Track to the Foundation. And that training teaches you all you need to know about the UH Foundation, If you're an account administrator, how to spend your money, what the policies and procedures are for that. It's set for July 11th, so please save the date. And I put it into the chat. If you are an account administrator, you should be receiving monthly cash balance emails that tell you what your accounts that you're on and what their balances are. If you don't get that, you should check your junk box. Maybe it's been going there. But next week, there will be an invitation sent out to join this training session, and I highly advise it. If you have a lot of questions for, say, Mary has a lot of incoming questions, and I have a lot of incoming questions about what forms to fill out, what are the timelines, how do I use my funds, what is the balance? So pay attention to this, and if you don't know what that email looks like, send an email to me, and we will make sure you get on the list for training. Thanks.
Thanks, Lynn. Other comments, other thoughts?
Luis,
Uh-huh.
is Noel here? Maybe I have a question for him.
He should be.
If I can pick on him.
Yeah, he's here.
No, so I've been I'm when you mentioned those 2,000 students, I keep thinking about like, where are they going? And I know maybe in the last month when I was watching TV, I noticed that Google is coming out with like project management certificates, data analytics certificates. Do you think our students are moving towards getting degrees from Google and those kind of people rather than like an education institution?
Sounds like that's a debatable question. I think it's putting me on the spot.
No.
So the thing that we need to understand is in terms of like retention rates. So retention would be like a fall to fall kind of thing, right? So student enrolls with us for fall and spring, then re-enrolls in the fall. When we look at retention rates, the normal retention rates for like community college were a lot lower, but like for universities is like 50-60%. When you hit like a 40-50, it sounds terrible, but it's like a standard. So I think we got to look past that. And then when we actually look at the data of our students, we would have to actually look at where they go next. Either they never return or what. Because I mean, within this, I mean, you can make a lot of different assumptions. Maybe they're going to transfer. They just didn't transfer yet, either to UH. So they're not reflected in the numbers. Maybe they applied to one of our competitive programs and didn't get in. So maybe they're rethinking what they're going to do. Part of it too, it's the timing. Like right now, I don't think there's a big urgency for students to enroll. Those of the students who wanted to come back would have done so back in the spring semester when registration started. So this 2,000 plus students are those who are either going to make a decision in July, August, and we're going to try to help them make that decision earlier, or they're thinking college is not for them. Either they're on probation now because of their grades, maybe they're on suspension, and they need to do a appeal with financial aid. So it's all of those, and I really don't know enough about this student population to tell you what it is. I can best guess what it is. Maybe after doing the campaign, as the students are coming back in, we can get a better idea of why they never did it. I mean, the other thing is because maybe they're waiting for certain courses to be offered. During this COVID era, a lot of our students was non-home based, which is very different for us compared to pre-COVID, where students would just stay with the same college. But because of the online offerings and whatnot, everybody's just kind of enrolling all over the place. So yeah, it's just hard to do it now because there's so many factors we gotta take control of. So it's just best guesses, and we can kind of guess and check. Sorry, I avoided your question with giving you a bunch of scenarios.
That's okay. I'm just trying to see, because really still kind of offer our courses the way we've been offering our courses for the past 20, 30 years, except that we do hybrid and online. But I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out what do this new generation, what do they want? I mean, we can probably help, but like I just don't even know what
I guess, I
what
mean,
they're
my,
looking for.
my answer to that, and part of it is probably just dealing with COVID in general, is
Mm.
I think we do need to understand what our students want. And at the same time, I think as a college, because it's too hard to predict anything right now, to just take a risk and say, this is what we're going to offer to our students because this is where college is. Because, I mean, trying to adjust to this population, I mean, even the COVID policies, I mean, they change every single week. I mean, the most recent change came last week that went against all the advice I was giving people. So makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing, but it's hard with all these policies changing. And the one thing that we do have constant is our college and what we would like to do. And that's the part we could probably take a bigger risk on in terms of saying, you know what, our students need this, because I think this is, we've been doing this long enough in higher ed. Yes, COVID is new, but we understand the needs of our community. So we're going to do it this way. And hopefully the policies fall in place. Hopefully nothing new comes about, no new strain or whatnot. But I think for the past 2 years, we've just been trying to say, like, what do students need or what does the community need? And it would change from day to day, which is, I think that is frustrating and both paralyzing at the same time for all of us. So to be able to just have a conversation and be like, okay, based on the past 2 years, we don't know if it'll change, but what if we did it this way already? And then let's just kind of do that just so we can be at ease. I think that would kind of go a long way for us. But that's just kind of a shot in the dark based on our experiences.
Thank you.
I was looking, no, yeah, I was looking at the list that was shared with us. There's a lot of foreign students, foreign addresses, and even mainland addresses. So maybe these are mostly our online students that are not registered yet,
Could be,
maybe,
yeah.
but there's a lot.
Hmm. Yep, it would be good to have a campaign for those that were here in the spring and didn't quite show up yet. If they're procrastinating, we can help them get going.
Yeah.
Okay, other thoughts from anyone? Yes, Sean.
And Chancellor, just a few quick updates on the international side. First of all, I wanted to thank Noel for getting together with those meetings. We're moving in a positive direction. And this is just FYI for everyone. But we've been, our students, our international students in particular, it's been challenging for them to meet the vaccination requirements. But because of CVIS allowing students to take majority of their classes, the continuing students at least can take all of their classes online. But for newly admitted students, for the time being, they need to take at least 3 credits in person. And so for the time being, students have not been required to be on campus, or at least the faculty has been very flexible. And we thank you for that flexibility in working with our international student population to be able to allow them to continue their classes, but at the same time, be sure that they receive the vaccinations that they need to. So Noel and I have been working with the systems office to look at some possibilities with regards to having a van, I believe. Yeah, that's, is it the HMSA van, Noel? Is that what it's called? Or was it?
So I think, and maybe Lisa knows more about this, but in the past during COVID, Queens had a mobile van that would be able to come to the different sites to help students with the vaccinations because it was too difficult to get an appointment with the hospital. So we're looking at doing that again for the college to bring the site here so that our international students and our regular residential students could do their vaccinations on campus.
This is not just COVID vaccination, right? This is all
No,
the
no,
other.
yeah, sorry, vaccine, yeah, like old definition of vaccination, so
Yeah,
it's TB.
MMR, Tdap, varicella, all of those things. So be able to, and that's going to be a tremendous help to our students, even though they do have insurance that they could use for that. This would basically enable the student to for us to just set up a time and a day for them to come by and be able to do this and then do the following up shot. So, so we're grateful for that. Another thing is that we've been, Sun, who's away right now, that works on our Korean market, has been working and in contact with KTC. And so we have been hearing that they intend to send a cohort to us in the fall. We're not exactly sure how many numbers, what the numbers might be, but it sounds like they're moving in that direction. So as we're moving forward, you'll be hearing from our office more likely Sun than anyone else, especially working with you, Dave and Cheryl, and certainly Dean Richards, others, to make sure that we can accommodate for that population. We're not sure if we're going to have any dual degree or 2 degree or the dual degree population, because we typically only have 1 or 2 of those students every so often. And the vast majority of students would just register into courses that they're interested in. And of course, with Guy, there's a large population that comes in as IEP students as well. So we'll know a little bit more once Sun-wook comes back. He's actually in Korea at the moment. So just a heads up on that. And the other one is we're really excited to have our first outbound study abroad program to Ireland. And so we have a total of 18 participants, and we're really excited for that, half of whom are students. And actually in this occasion, there were students outside of the Lunalilo scholars that applied and were accepted, but for various reasons, a couple of those students bowed out and decided not to go. But we're really excited because this is all 9 of these students that are participating actually are Lunalilo scholars. And this is exactly one of the targeted areas or the focus areas that we wanted to afford students that would otherwise maybe not participate in study abroad, an opportunity to do an abroad program. So this will be happening in later this month. From, I think we leave on June 20th. It takes about a day and a half to 2 days to get there. We had our first, well, we've been in touch on email and everything else, but we did our orientation today, and via Zoom, and you could practically feel the butterflies from the kids through Zoom. They're so excited. So, so that's happening. And we also have faculty participating from Hawaii Community College, Windward Community College, and Maui. And so we have our hope is that these short-term programs will be opportunities for both the faculty and the students to be able to have an abroad experience, but really to come back here and then think through how they may internationalize the curriculum, the campus, or encourage students to participate. And so we'll be focusing more efforts as COVID, hopefully, things get better. We'll be focusing on those short-term programs predominantly during the summer. And then for semester-based and year-based programs, we have a few of those around, but we've been encouraging students to apply to the systems office for those, because Debbie Nakagawa's office has several of those types of agreements for longer abroad programs. So,
Sean,
yes.
there are some faculty and staff from Kapi'olani also going, yeah?
There are, yes. Sorry, I was assuming that.
Hey, Hawaii,
Yes.
Maui, but wait a minute.
No, the majority of the faculty and the staff that are participating are, yes, coming from Kapi'olani. And we hope to do this beyond this year. So my hope is that we'd be able to do this each year. And I would love to be able to work with the faculty if they're interested in either having it a part of their class, maybe going during the spring break, for example, or maybe as an optional thing after the spring semester, something of that sort, maybe a possibility. So, if you're interested in this, maybe you can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to have that conversation and connect. I'm trying to be a facilitator to connect and see what might be possible. We have faculty from the EMT program. So we're really excited about that, because that's also an area that traditionally our students do not participate in abroad programs. And I certainly would welcome, all students, but our Hawaiian Studies program students and so forth. I would love to have those kids go too. So this is going to be our pilot program, and and we'll go from here. But thank you, everybody, faculty and Chancellor, for all your support for this program. There are a whole bunch of new things because of COVID and all kinds of weird insurances now that we have to have in place that in case somebody tests positive, their hotel can be covered while they cannot return to the US, and all kind of new things that were not there before. But we're going through those steps one step at a time. And we have a solid team, actually Lavashe and Antikoko are two that are participating in this as well. So we're excited, and we have a strong leadership team there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. It's going to be
And
fun
Sean-
hearing these stories. Yes, sorry, Lynn.
These students are all going because of private funding.
Absolutely,
That's
yes.
This,
I don't know if
this has been the first time that our Queen Kapiolani International Scholars, the Q Kits, after the pandemic and whatnot, they haven't been able to travel, but this group will be able to be our inaugural group to go. So many thanks to all of donations that you made
Yes.
to Q Kits in Dr. Pagotto's honor, and for the Luna Lila Scholars Program and the Honda International Opportunities Fund. Thank
Lots of private money going to Ireland.
you. And that's what they're there for, to provide that
Absolutely.
student experience, to make our campus, our school, a destination of choice.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other thoughts, other questions, any other announcements, please? Okay, looks like we're done at 1:36 p.m. Next campus Zoom will be the first Wednesday of July. Oh, I won't be here. No, will I? Yes, I will. No, wait. What's the first date? I think I will. Yes, I will be here. Barely. Barely here. Okay, have a wonderful rest of the week. Enjoy the holiday next week. And I'll see you first week of July. Bye, everybody. Unmute, say goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.